Welcome to Handi Quilter's Watch and Learn. Today we're going to take another look at grid-based designs, specifically ones that break up space. Be sure to subscribe and give us a like for more great quilting tips and tricks. I'm Kim Sandberg, and with me today is
Kristina Whitney.
We're both studio educators here at Handi Quilter, and we've been having so much fun with these grid-based designs. We decided to do another episode.
Yeah, so this one's a little bit different. Kind of the goal for this one is to, rather than fill the entire space, we're going to break up the space and we're going to quilt part of it, but leave part of it unquilted to give it some different depth and just a different look.
Okay, I love that. I know one of the things when you're quilting a design, your eye's always drawn to the space that's not quilted. So that's really what we're creating here, is that unquilted space, right? Yep. Okay, I love it. All right, well, what's the first design you got for us?
Let's go to the board. Okay, the first one that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take my initial square and I'm going to subdivide it.
Okay.
I don't have to, but I want this design to be a little bit smaller than my previous designs. So I'm just going to draw probably one row here.
Okay.
Okay, so that is my subdivided. And sometimes I'll actually stitch those subdivided just to give me a little bit more boundaries when I'm quilting.
Okay.
It just depends on the look I'm going for. Okay, so I call this my squiggle.
Squiggle, I like it.
It's really involved here. I'm going to squiggle up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, and I'm going to end at the down.
Okay.
And I'm going to transfer over to this next block. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
I know what design you're doing.
Now I'm going to come up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and I'm just going to continue to fill that.
Yep.
All the way across. And the next one.
I love this design. I quilt this design all the time.
It's super fun. Sometimes it gets a little bit tricky with any kind of grid work is, you know, finding your path.
Right.
So here's a little tip for those that are watching. Take a marking tool, preferably not a dry erase marker, but something that you can write on your fabric with.
Right.
And put a little mark in the blocks that you need to be stitching in.
That is such a good idea. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh, well, I just shifted the pattern.
Yep, I did that just last night. So that's a fun one. Okay. So over here at the machine.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one quilting out.
Okay.
I know that when I quilt this one, I always think of it as a checkerboard or like a chessboard.
Yes.
My husband's a big chess player, so I actually did a chess quilt that sits on a table that he plays chess on top of, and this is what I did. The design I quilted on it, so I love it.
Yeah, and you don't have to do just squiggles. You could do anything you wanted into that one. Okay, so I'm going to bring my machine over here, bring up my needle. Okay, here we go. I've already pre-marked my blocks to subdivide them.
Okay, I see that.
And I'm going to mark which ones I'm going to stitch in.
Okay.
And I almost kept going, but I got to stay in my 2x2.
Okay, I love that.
Okay, so here we go. And you can do sharp points, you can do squiggle them, smooth points. You can cross your lines, you can do whatever you want. We're just trying to lay down some thread there. Okay, I'm going to come down. And that's actually stitching that dividing line right there.
Creating that boundary.
Yep. And again, if you wanted to stitch those extra dividing lines ahead of time, you can. If you don't already have a grid, you can actually just stitch out a grid.
Oh, yeah.
And then fill in the grid.
Yeah. I know when I've quilted this design, I have a 1-inch grid that I can pounce.
Yes.
That's a great one to do. A good size, too.
Okay, traveling down and fill in the bottom.
Okay, now I'm interested to see how you're going to travel down to the next one, because this isn't just another end at the top. You got to end at the bottom.
I'm just going to keep on traveling down to the very last one here.
Using that seam line to travel in. Okay.
And I know I keep saying this, but generally you have kind of a blending thread. So So that will just stay right there in the ditch. Okay,
Absolutely.
whoops, I just traveled right over my same line.
That's okay.
Yep. Okay, this time I'm going to come up on that line. Try to maybe connect with the previous line if you're looking at what you're doing.
I think it looks great.
And traveling down to the next one. And up to my last one. There we go.
All right, I love that design.
Yeah, and depending on the look you're going for, you could space these lines out further, or you can keep them closer together. And again, you can do spikes or just rounded corners. You can do whatever you want. You can even just do a combination, just whatever happens to come out of your machine at that moment.
Whatever stitch path happens to happen at that moment. Yes, that's usually the choice I pick. I really like that one.
Just have fun with it.
Yep. Well, that is a really great design for breaking up that space, leaving some spaces unquilted, creating an interesting pattern to look at.
Super fun, super quick and easy. Okay, we're going to move back to the board for our next design.
Yeah, so what's the next one you've got for us?
Oh, let's see. What should we do next?
So I know you've got another design up your sleeve.
I do. Okay, this one, I'm going to start in my corner, and I am going to come across the top. Actually, for this one, I'm going to go diagonal first. Diagonal corner to corner.
Okay.
And I'm going to fill in this top section here.
Okay.
Nope, I'm going to fill in my bottom section.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want.
You could do it either way,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
For
You
this
just
travel path, I'm going to do the bottom.
pick a side and stick with it?
Yep, so
Is that
I'm
what
just
you're saying?
doing, yeah.
Ah.
L's.
E's that turned into L's. Is
Yep.
that what you call that one?
Then I'm going to travel across the top.
Okay.
And then I'm ready for my next one. Diagonal. Fill in the loops.
I love it.
And I always try to aim for this corner here with one of the bigger loops.
Yep.
And across the top and diagonal.
What a fun design.
And then I'm going to come across the top, and then I will just travel down my side, down one. This time coming back across the top.
Okay.
And then that way I'm almost like kind of stitching in the ditch
You
throughout
are.
most of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the tops going across. So I'm going to come back across, do my diagonal line, and fill.
And fill. I like that one. That one's really fun.
Across the top, diagonal, fill.
And I like how you're turning your grid into triangles. Those half square triangles.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
the
fun.
previous one, we did squares. This one, triangles. And right now, I've got it so that the top section is always open. I could flip it on the bottom row and do something different and completely change the look.
Yeah.
Or I could even create kind of like a pinwheel. Let's say if I wanted to do a grid and let's see, I guess I need more lines.
Yeah.
I could fill this one, I could fill this one, I could fill this one, and this one, and create a pinwheel.
I love
shape.
that. These would be really great designs to quilt too if you had a half square triangle quilt.
Yes.
Like you have those pieces in there because then once again, you don't have to mark anything. You'd already have those diagonal lines. You could pick a certain fabric that you were going to quilt in. I think this is really great.
Yeah, we could play with this with the flying geese also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you really could.
We'll have to play with that one.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
It's really fun. Okay.
Let's do some stitching.
Yeah, I want to see this one stitched out.
Okay, so I drew some arrows on here, so if you see some blue marks, that's what it is.
Just the direction you're going to travel in,
Correct.
more or less. Okay.
Yep, and if I wanted to make sure my lines were completely straight, I could use a ruler.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to worry about that right now.
Yeah.
We're just going to eyeball it. I am going to kind of look at my center point and stitch towards that, and then I'm going to shift my eyes down to my corner point and aim for that. So I'm looking ahead
Right.
to where I'm going rather than where I'm right at.
Yeah.
I'm going to add my loops. When I get to the top, I'll just kind of squiggle over.
Okay.
Okay, and
That's
travel
good.
across the top.
Yeah.
And here, I'm going to again do my diagonal line. Looking at where I'm aiming for and kind of wiggling it there at the end. This one I'm going to do a little bit chunkier loops.
Okay. Oh, I like how that changes the look of the design.
So completely different.
Playing with scale a little bit there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to travel across the top,
Okay.
down the side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, I just have to point out how awesome was that stitch in the ditch.
That was a perfect stitch in the ditch. A+ gold star for you today.
Maybe I should have kept my mouth shut because I have to do one more now. Okay, across the top, here we go. Not as perfect.
Can she repeat the performance? Well, that's
Nope.
okay.
Oh well.
Once again, use a blending thread.
Blending thread, you can use a ruler,
Yeah.
monopoly thread. Okay, diagonal we go.
Okay.
Ooh, got a little wobble. Wobbles are okay.
Yeah.
Now I've been doing loops in all of these.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do another design in a minute, and I'm going to show you kind of a different way to do this, but also using a different design for this fill.
Okay.
So you can do whatever you want in here
Yeah.
to break up that space.
I love how you've consistently kept that large one in the center. Kind of draws your eye, it's directional. It looks really good.
And it fills in that space.
Yep.
So you're not left with a corner that's not being stitched.
Right. Yep. And once again, you're leaving this space out here, which, you know, depending on the fabric you have in your quilt, this could be maybe a fabric that you want to draw your eye towards.
Yep.
Leaving it unquilted will definitely do that.
Yeah. This is also really fun to do in negative space.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Pounce,
A grid.
a grid on there and fill this in. And I like to do it on a small scale, and it really adds a lot of texture in there.
That's definitely a fun design. All right, I'm ready to see your next design. Let's see what you got.
Okay, let's head back to the board. Okay, I mentioned that I'm going to do another design similar to this loop one, just dividing the squares into triangles.
Okay.
This time, though, I'm going to do it just a little bit different.
Okay.
First of all, I'm going to go the other direction, just so
Okay.
you can see that you can go multiple directions.
Right.
I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to draw a diagonal line here.
Okay.
Okay, so far everything's pretty similar.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to do maybe some feathers in here.
Oh, okay.
You're Again, I'm trying to aim to get a feather in this corner.
Gotcha.
Doesn't always work out perfectly, but
Right.
you know, that's the aim.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to come up to my top here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to travel across,
Okay.
or stitch in the ditch across,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to start here. And I'm going to do my diagonal line coming down, but I'm
Right.
going to continue going down
Oh, okay.
as far as I can in my throat space.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, then I'm going to feather back up.
Mm-hmm.
Whee. Leave enough space so I can get a feather in that corner.
And those are, they'd be called like bump back feathers, or like a formal feather is another term that people use for that type of feather. You
Yes.
definitely could do any type of feather in here though.
Yeah, you could do like little spikes.
I just threw down the challenge. Kristina accepted.
Spiral.
I love it.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to travel in the ditch across.
Okay.
This time coming down, I'm going to hit 3 triangles.
I love this. Okay, so this is I love how you're showing that you don't have to necessarily do them in rows.
Correct.
That's great.
Yeah. So one thing that we have not talked about in the videos yet, but all of these grid designs that we're doing are on a square-based grid.
Right.
You can do a diamond-based grid where everything would be tilted the other way. You could do rectangular-based grids. I mean, it's just mind-blowing what you can do.
All the different options you have.
So I had to limit myself. So we're doing square-based designs.
We're sticking with
so that I don't get out of control. Oh, I still get out of control. Okay, so I'm going to finish my feathers, going up, feathers in here, more feathers.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to travel down.
And all the way across.
Finish those
and
two.
And then back up.
Feather up, feather up. You could even just stitch that. Just kidding, don't do that.
Well, you could. You definitely could. You know, one of the things I keep thinking, I know that when I first learned how to do feathers, it was much easier for me to do them on one side of the spine rather than the other side of the spine. This is a perfect design for that.
Yeah.
Because you only have to do half the feather.
And if you can't do the left side of the feather, then just fill in these spaces and leave these open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do whatever works. Or, I'm going to throw down the challenge here.
Okay.
For those that can only do feathers on one side, do something like this, but force yourself to do all the feathers on the hard side as practice.
And that way you don't have to make both sides match. You can work just on that one direction. Yeah, I can see where this would actually be a good practice for that. Oh, very fun. And here's Kristina just having fun with all different kinds of plumes. I love it. All right, let's see this one stitched out. This is a really fun, okay. I love that you figured out a way how to incorporate feathers, which of course you're gonna figure out how to do that. Kristina loves feathers.
Someday I'll actually get good at them.
Oh, someday, Kristina. I want to quilt feathers like you when I grow up. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just like to have fun.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm taking this class right now, and one of the lessons that we were learning about was perfectionism. And I realized I'm not a perfectionist.
Okay. I'm not either.
In certain areas. Some things I definitely am, but some things it's just not worth it to me to get upset or stressed out about.
Yeah.
Feathers is one of them.
Yeah.
They don't look perfect. Move on and look at something else.
No. They may not look perfect, but they're done. That's what's important.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so now I have to do a diagonal line going the hard direction.
The other direction. Okay.
So if I were doing this on a regular quilt and I wanted it to look nice, I definitely would put my Surefoot on and use a ruler for this part. But we're going to...
So if you think of it this way,
for it.
So this is the spine of your feather.
It is.
It's a spine of a feather traditionally is a little sinuous and moves. Yeah. So maybe the free motion's good.
So maybe that's an idea. Instead of doing a straight line, maybe do a wavy line.
Okay, so maybe you can
try on the next one, we'll do wavy lines.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm looking at this one. I don't think I have room in there to do two, so I'm going to do one big one.
One big one, okay.
I'm going to fill that space.
Yeah. This is also a really good practice for fitting a feather into a not normal space, but fitting it into a triangle.
Yep. Having that defined border. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Cross the top.
Cross the top. Let's see if we can, how Kristina does on the stitch in the ditch. Oh, there you go. You got it.
Okay.
The last 3/4 was really good.
Yeah. The first quarter. Yeah. That's why I always say use a lighter thread, and then you can Sharpie it if it goes into the darker fabric.
Exactly.
And when I say Sharpie, I mean fabric marker.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do wavy lines, but I want to hit that corner point.
Right. So you're kind of aiming for that.
Oh, that's really going to throw my feathers for a loop here.
Oh, but it'll look so pretty.
Okay, here we go. Like have to go into a squat to do my feathers.
Yeah.
Gonna
You have to do that when your quilt's a little closer to you. You got to change that body position.
Get that leg work out.
That feather clear up in that corner. Oh, nice line.
Thanks. I'm gonna throw in a little one here, fill in some of this space here.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good trick, showing everybody how to do that. Sometimes with the feathers, just to create a little more interest, change the size of those plumes to fill in the space.
Yeah, and depending on the direction that your spine's going, if it's concave or convex, sometimes keeping the feathers the same size doesn't fit very well.
Yeah, that's true.
So adding those small ones really helps out. So here we are doing a grid video, and you guys are getting a feathers lesson.
I know. Oh, I see what you're doing here. I was trying to figure out what you were going to stitch there. Very nice. Way to fill that space.
My machine just kind of had a little wobble there.
That's so good. Okay, so now you're going to travel down. Yeah, that looks so good. Travel down the side there, and you've got one more square to fill. So are you going to do a sinuous line or a straight line? I guess if you did the straight line, then it's echoing what you did up here.
Yeah. Maybe do like every other one straight.
That would be cool.
Oh, the designs we can come up with. Okay.
Come on, I need to just make a quilt like this and quilt designs on it. I love it.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to come straight-ish. Woo!
I love it.
And fill it in. So I made that one a little bit skinny so I'd be able to fit another one in there. Blending thread.
Absolutely. Oh, it still looks good. That's fantastic. All right. I like that one.
So whenever we're teaching, we always remind our students that their practice quilts are not show quilts. So I'm just reminding myself in my head right now.
Well, you know what? Even that for a finished quilt, especially, you know, we keep talking about blending threads. You use a blending thread with that, and you wouldn't even notice that. Yeah. This looks fantastic. I think what a fun way. I never in a million years would have thought of doing a feather on a diagonal in a grid. What a great design.
Isn't that fun?
It is.
And I never thought to do the curvy line. So
this is the power of Kim and Kristina, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm liking the curvy line a lot more. I want to do one that's like the whole quilt like that and just see what it turns out as.
Well, it would look really cool. You'd have fun with all your different plumes.
All right. Think what the back would look like.
I know.
Okay,
we're going down the feather hole. Focus. Grid.
Okay.
All right, Kristina, next design.
Okay.
I love when we find a design that we just kind of have a little too much fun with.
Yes. All the time.
All the time.
Okay. This is similar to the first design that we did where we did like every other square. Okay. But we're going to do it on a larger scale.
Okay.
So I'm going to fill this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one.
Okay.
And one thing with this particular design is, even though it's a larger scale, you've got to be careful of the manufacturer's directions for your batting.
Right.
To make sure that you're not leaving too big of an open space. So I generally don't do this more than like 4 inches.
Right, right.
So, okay. You can fill this with whatever. So you could do pebbles.
Okay.
And just fill in that entire space.
So just pick a fun fill.
Yep.
All right, I love it.
Whee. What would be another fun fill to put in one of these? Pretty much anything that we've been doing with these grids you could fill in.
Even a stipple. I mean, something as simple as a stipple, right?
Yep. The thing with this is that it's a fairly dense
You want a more dense. Okay, so do a stipple that has loops in it so that we can make it really dense.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, so I finished here. I'm aiming for this corner to finish, so I can just continue straight on with this next square here.
If you do those loops in it, you can get that really nice and dense. And then too, you know, if you cross over anything, you're just making a loop.
Ooh, I'm just gonna go crazy here. Woo-loo-loo. Now I'm aiming for this point to exit out of.
Okay.
So we're just gonna kind of scribble here for time's sake.
To fill in.
and then I'm traveling up to my next square.
Okay.
So I'm not having to break my thread after each one, and I'm not even traveling in the ditch on this one.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm just going directly from one square to the next, and then continue on filling this one.
With whatever you want to fill it with. You could actually even do a scribble if you really wanted to pack that fabric down.
La la la. At this point though, after you've gone across the row, you've done 2 rows at a time.
Right.
You will need to travel down.
Yeah.
And do your 3rd and 4th row. Coming back, or
whatever's
you could
available.
break your thread. If I were doing this like on a full length quilt, I would break my thread at the end of these 2 rows and come back and do my 3rd and 4th row. You know, it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you.
Gotcha.
And your machine. So.
I like that. Okay, so I'm excited to see some of the fills that you like to do in this one.
Okay. So I'm going to mark. I'm going to fill this one and this one. And I'm going to leave these 2 empty.
And these, you know, as you mentioned, following the manufacturer's instructions for the batting, this quilt, these squares, I would say, are definitely a little too big to leave unquilted. However, we're demonstrating, so it's fine.
And some batting say, you know, you can do up to 8 inches.
That's
so
true.
It just depends on the batting that you're using.
That's true. Yep.
Okay, let's do some...
You're not doing pebbles, you're doing Riverstone. That's what I like to call it when it's bigger.
I'm just doing craziness.
I love it.
I'm purposely making them different shapes. Some of them are overlapping, different sizes. That's what's making it unique. Now I'm aiming for this corner, so I've got to fill in this spot up here. So I'm gonna travel back up. So you're thinking ahead of where you need to be going.
Right. You always want to be moving in that general direction, right?
Yep. Insert song here.
So you've got to...
Maybe we'll make some bigger ones.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite things about pebbles or Riverstones is that nothing has to be the same.
Yep.
If they cross over, oh well.
Well.
If you miss a spot, oh well.
Yep.
And you can travel over as many times as you want.
Right. Right. You know, it's like going around a roundabout. You just keep going around until you find the right exit point, right?
Exactly. I've got great stories about roundabouts. But I think I've squirreled enough for one video.
Feathers.
You know, I would love to see what kind of things our viewers are coming up with. So if anybody's been doing any grid work, send us some pictures.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see too. Christina's getting her wiggle on here.
Okay, now I've crossed over into my next square.
Okay.
I'm just going to meander on this one, just for time's sake.
Yeah. And a good meander or stipple, it's a fantastic design. Just get it quilted.
It does a fun texture.
Mm-hmm, it is. It has a lot of movement in it.
Filling in that space, traveling, getting any open places that I've missed. Aiming for that bottom corner so I can get back out, and there it is.
In there. Perfect. Now this would be a fun one to do on a quilt if you really wanted to challenge yourself to try different background fills.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
We could definitely have some fun with that. Or if you just wanted to try something new, you're not limiting yourself because you can do something different in every single one of those blocks.
So there's nothing worse than starting a quilt and committing yourself to a design and then doing it in one block and just not liking it, that you're never going to unpick it.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep doing the same thing. So doing that idea of changing the designs frequently, actually that kind of leads us into this quilt back here.
Yeah, you have one back here. This is such a fun quilt that Kristina, she's been so inspired by doing all these grids.
So this is one of my grandma's quilt tops, one of my many. And I decided to do a different grid technique in every single one of these blocks. They're about 15-inch blocks, and there were a total of 42 of them.
Yeah.
And every single one of them has a different design in it.
It's so cool.
So the possibilities for grid work are limitless.
They really are.
Yeah, some of them, I started doing something, and it ended up something else. So I learned a new design. So
I've done that before, too.
But I had lots of fun with this one.
This is so great. And you know, this is a perfect example the way that this was pieced, because these are all what, 3-inch squares roughly?
Yep.
So you already had a grid built in.
Exactly.
You didn't have to mark anything.
Nope.
You were able to just quilt it.
I don't think I marked anything at all on this entire quilt.
Dang. That's good for you. Usually you do some marking at some point.
This one was fun.
All right, so last design.
One more design. Okay, this one's been a little trickier for me, finding my stitch path.
Okay.
But I really liked it, and I stitched it out on the quilt behind me, and I really like how it looked. So, we are going to do kind of some arcs.
Arcs, okay.
Yes. So I'm going to do an arc from point to point.
Okay.
And then from this point, I'm going to go up to this next point, but curving the opposite direction.
Okay.
Then the next one is going to be identical to the first.
Okay. So you just have 2 directions you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So I finished here.
Okay.
And I can stitch along here, in, out, in, out, in, out. And now I'm up to my top point, so I can jump over into my next one.
And
in, out, in, out, in,
you're doing
out.
it on the other side.
Yep. So now I'm on to the original one.
Very cool.
And you can do as many spikes as you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then from here, I'm going to come down, just traveling. Actually, I ended
there.
I ended here, so I'm going to travel down one.
Okay.
So from here, I'm going to do my curve going the other direction.
Uh-huh.
So this curve and this curve kind of S.
Okay.
Okay. So I ended up here, and then this one's going to come down, and then this one is going to do the same as that first one.
Repeat that one. Okay.
Yep. Then I'm going to
come down,
fill in that center.
Oh, that is a really interesting looking design. I like that. And I mean that in a good way. Sorry. It's you look at it and you have to kind of look and go, okay, wait a minute, how does that work? Because, well, I know whenever I look at quilting designs, I'm always like, wait a minute, where's the stitch path?
Exactly. And this one, I will admit freely, I had to concentrate pretty hard to figure out which way I was going.
Yeah. I can see that I'd probably be stopping often to check and make sure, wait, am I curving in the right direction? That looks awesome.
Now, even looking at it right now, I'm thinking, I don't think I did that right.
I think you did.
I don't think I did.
You got kind of that S curve going. Because even the one that goes all the way down the center, it goes out and then it comes in and then it goes out and then it comes in.
This guy should have his spikes over here.
Oh.
I did these middle ones wrong.
Oh no.
I lied.
Okay.
But you know what?
You could do it that way.
I just created a new design.
Yes, you did.
But the one that I was going to show you, the spikes are up here.
Okay, so they're on the larger side.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just got...
That's okay.
I got ahead of myself. I just got excited.
She just created a new design.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, so let me just go over this real quick again, since I changed everything.
Okay.
Arc, 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 fill in here. So I'm going to come up, finish here.
Up.
Then I'm going to come across to do this one.
To do this one, okay.
Down, across.
Okay. Like it's like orange or lemon slices.
Yeah.
You look at it that way.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's really fun. Or fans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just depending on how you look at it,
Yeah.
what you want to call the design.
Yeah.
I want to see this one stitched out. That is really fun.
So this one, since I'm only going to be stitching on 4 blocks, that's all you're going to see.
Uh-huh.
So it's more almost like a pinwheel almost.
Yeah, it is.
But if you do a larger grid,
Mm-hmm.
like more squares, you really see like the secondary
Yeah.
looks, and
Yeah.
it's fun. I'm going to bring my cheat sheet with me for
Okay.
this one.
I have no problem with that.
I told you I got confused when I was doing it.
I think this is one that I would most likely be drawing some lines to help myself out.
Maybe I should. Okay. I think that's how the best designs get created, though, when
Yeah.
we screw up what we're supposed to be doing or what we thought we were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, once is a mistake, twice is a design choice, right?
Excellent. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to arc over to this down point, and then I'm going to arc up. Okay, so I want to fill in this side here.
Yeah.
And you could get really precise with this and measure stuff,
Yeah.
or you can just go kind of free form.
A little more organic.
Yep. I'm going to come out, and then I'm going to come in. And I'm not worrying about being in the ditch,
Right.
because that's one of my spikes.
Right. It's part of that fill you're putting in there.
Yep. And I'm not always coming all the way to my center point to avoid getting too much thread buildup in that one spot.
That's smart, especially if you are using a heavier thread.
Okay, now I'm coming down here for my second row, and I'm going to travel down one more, and I'm going to arc up, and I'm going to arc down.
Yeah.
Okay, filling in up here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing the pinwheel starting to form.
So this is a design that would be fun to do, like in a quilt that has drunkard's path on it.
Yeah.
Okay, from here I'm going to travel down.
That would be a really fun one. Once again, you wouldn't have to mark anything because you'd already have those curved lines to follow.
Exactly.
Especially if it was pieced like this where it was turned every other line. Yeah. I got lots of too many quilts going in my head now. Possibilities.
Okay. Yep, you can see that pinwheel effect with doing just the 4 blocks.
Yeah. That's really fun. Those are some really great designs. I love these 5 designs you've shown us today. And
Thanks.
that's definitely something when you think of a grid, you don't think, oh, well, let's break up the space with a grid. But what a great designs.
Yeah, so you're leaving some spaces open, and it's half the quilting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, thanks for watching. We'd love to see what you're doing with these grid-based designs. You can post and be sure to hashtag us, Handi Quilter. We'd love to see what you're doing. Thanks for watching this week. Be sure to subscribe and give us a like, and have fun quilting.